K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
All right, folks,
Wake
this
up,
is...
America!
Whoops, I forgot about that part. This is Wake Up America. I am Rick Robinson, joined in studio today by my good buddy. You know him, you love him from Facebook, Twitter, also his own radio show here, right here on K98 Talk. The conservative curmudgeon is taking the co-host chair this evening, and we are joined by Mr. Rod Eccles on the line with us today, and he is already here with us. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good evening.
Grouchy, did I lose you?
No, I'm here, brother. I was just giving a chance for everybody to get their piece said. If I was any better, I'd be bottled and sold. You know how it goes with me.
Yeah, well, if we could figure out how to bottle and sell you, we might make some money. I'm just saying.
Hey, I got some ideas.
Most of which would be illegal in at least 47 states, but that's a topic for another show.
Immoral in all 50, but ideas nonetheless.
All right, so as I said at the opening, we are joined by Mr. Rod Eccles today, a conservative co-host, or a conservative talk show host. Sorry, in a minute I'll remember how to talk. I swear I get paid to talk for a living, and there's just days when nothing works right. All right, so Mr. Eccles, in the event that we do have some folks that listen to K98 Talk who may not know who you are, why don't you spend the first few minutes of the show kind of giving them an idea of who you are, why you got into talk radio, what it is that you're up to, what you're about, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, basically, I got started in talk radio over on Blog Talk Radio back in 2009. I had I owned and wrote blogs since about 1998, 99, and this was about the time that the Obama administration was just getting into office and causing all kinds of havoc. And one day I was actually writing out my blog, and I realized that I was literally not typing, but banging on my keys in my desk as I was trying to write this blog and, trying to let out my frustration. And I felt that, I better stop because I'm going to break my computer. And I remembered that there was another blogger that I followed at the time that switched over to something called audio blogging at the time. It was something new. And I didn't know that you could actually do that and put it on your blog. So I did a quick Google search because, when you want to know something, of course, Google has the answer for you, right? So I did that, and up popped Blog Talk Radio on the top. So clicked on it, went over there, and on March 12th of 2009, I decided to save my computer and launch an audio blog, if you will. And it sort of took off. and I ended up going from an hour to 2 hours in about 2 months later, and then ended up with a couple of other networks, and here I am today.
Yeah, your bio is rather impressive. You're kind of all over the place.
Well, I am you know what, I just have a message that I think resonates with a lot of people. I'm a constitutional conservative. In fact, my tagline is that I'm the coolest, most politically incorrect conservative black man on the planet, and that tagline has actually gotten me in trouble with a few. I won't mention any names, but with a couple of other black conservatives, because they were basically saying, "How dare I think that I'm the coolest?" Not that I'm the most politically incorrect or the most conservative, but they had an issue with me saying that I was the coolest. So I'll let the public decide who's cool.
I'd run with it. I like it. If you can't toot your own horn, no one else is going to do it, right?
That's true. I really don't take myself all that seriously. I know a lot of people, especially on the left, take themselves way too seriously. I like having a lot of fun, but at the same time, I'm also very logical. I'm very, very factual. I love history, especially American history. So, I just when I talk to people, I speak to people on a logical basis, and I speak to them from a historical fact basis. And liberals have a real huge problem with both of those.
Yeah, especially the facts and logic.
Yeah,
tell them how you really feel, Grouchy.
I can't. We have company.
Actually, Mr. Eccles, I do have a question, and it just kind of occurred to me. And this is only because you're probably going to have a perspective that a lot of us don't have. As an African-American male, when Obama was first elected, what were your first thoughts? Hopeful, worried, a little of both?
My first thoughts were this guy is going to screw it up where America probably won't trust electing another man of color anytime soon. And I really hope that I'm wrong about that, because I don't think it should be about the color of the person's skin. I never liked the guy to begin with. It didn't matter that that he looked a little like me, but I just didn't like him to begin with.
Boom.
I mean, that. No, fair enough. But that's one of the things that, because, I listen to that's what actually started having me model everything that I've been doing here. I listen to conservative talk radio. I read blogs. I do, and it just, as I got more involved, I got more angry, and it just made sense to do it this way. Because much like you, I had a Facebook page, and one day I was about to throw my keyboard through my monitor, and I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And for a while it was, and I started in the same place as you did, actually. We had a fledgling network over on Blog Talk Radio that we ran for about a year before we started figuring out ways to do things on our own. And then the creation of K98 Talk became an amalgamation of my idea and a partner of mine who has done music-based internet radio since the 90s, back when you could have like 6 people listening at a time. I pitched him the idea of conservative talk because, everybody knew it was out there, but there wasn't anything like where you can kind of find a little bit of everything all in one place. So I pitched him the idea, and he looked at me like I was crazy. A year and a half later, he starts blowing up my Facebook feed and basically said, "Happy birthday, I built you a radio station." I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? And the rest is history. But
it's amazing how most of us get started. It's usually purely by accident. We don't intend to. We just started to relieve some sort of frustration or stress that we were building up, and it was in the modern day computer age. It was probably most likely to save our computers, and having us spend, at the time, probably hundreds of dollars replacing the computer.
Oh yeah. As somebody that works on those things for a part of my living, I can attest to beating the crud out of keyboards. When I started my Facebook page, I was all about the facts, getting the story right, and then my writing is something I took a lot of pride in, and only to have Zuckerberg and crew put the squeeze on who's getting to see it. And Rick and I had talked previously and about a radio show, and it was something I had thought about. I worked in top 40 radio a long time ago, part-time when I was in the military. Just enough became enough, and it was time to do it. So.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about how, Facebook has sort of monitored or shut down a post of theirs. And I have to admit, I don't think I've ever had that happen. Maybe before I just didn't have the reach that some people had, or maybe I was just being a little too polite and I wasn't pissing them off enough. So I'll have to fix that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that always helps. I figured, I had a small page, just over 7,000 followers, but my reach when I would post, and I would try to make 4 to 5 posts a night after I got home from work, usually about one an hour. And when I'm only getting to 50 and 60 people, there's something wrong.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's their algorithm that prevents it from going viral too fast. But there was a time when I thought I'd figured out how to bypass that a little bit, and that was to share it. Share your post in all your groups that you're a member in.
Right.
And all of a sudden, about a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that I had to wait about 12 to 24 hours before I could share a new post on my page with the groups that I belong, because it kept saying, who do you want to share this with, your own page? And that was my only option.
Wow.
Well, I don't want to share it myself. I just posted it there. So, maybe that's how they shut me down a little bit.
Well, that was what drove me to Twitter, and then to Rick. So.
And then to drink. No, wait, no, I'm sorry, that was me. All right, but no, and actually, one of the things that I noticed is the reach on Facebook got really, really terrible once they had put in the pay-to-play option. It's like their algorithm was specifically geared towards, hey, if you want the reach you had until we did this 2 weeks ago, now you've got to pay for it. And that's when I decided I was kind of done. It took me a while longer to get into Twitter. I'm not good at 140 some odd characters or less because I'm verbose. What can I say? It doesn't work really well for me. And when things really get busy, it's really hard to keep up. But I am getting used to it. I'm starting to build up a decent following there. But, yeah. How did we get onto social media again?
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back. Let's look back at Obama's administration, Rod, if we could. What do you see now that we're almost 7 years in? What's he going to tout as his positive aspects of his administration when it's all said and done?
Well, if you're talking about what will the radical left think, they'll think just about everything that he's done or tried to do is the best thing that's ever happened. I don't see, to be frank, I don't see anything that is good that we should keep after this guy leaves office. There's nothing. And, that's pretty sad to say about an American president, because I don't even think you can really say that about Jimmy Carter. I mean, there was a lot that Jimmy Carter did wrong, and there was a lot that Ronald Reagan had to repair, if you will, because of Carter. But, I don't envy the job of the next president this time around, because, at least Carter only had 4 years. This guy is going to have 8. His last 2 years are going to be, full-on radicalism, and the next president's going to have his hands full just trying to repair it. They're not going to have it wasn't easy for Reagan, but the next president is definitely going to have it much harder than Reagan had it.
Well, I agree, and especially with the announcement today of this tentative agreement with Iran and their nuke program. And they're looking at possibly bypassing Congress with this and not making it a treaty, but some kind of unwritten agreement. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, now see, this is well, I guess it's more like an executive order, and that's the only way he can get things done is, with a stroke of his pen, and because he thinks he's a potentate or a Caesar or something. But if we have a Congress that actually grows a backbone, and every once in a while they sort of stiffen their spine and they oppose him, and then he does something different, changes his position, or he just usually writes out an executive order instead of going through Congress. But maybe this time they'll grow a backbone and stiffen up and say, no, you can't do this, and we're going to defund or control the purse where it possibly you cannot keep this type of agreement, because you can't. No president can do that. They can't go backdoor like that, especially on an international treaty. The Constitution is really, really clear on that. There is no ambiguity.
Oh, I agree, but that doesn't mean he's not going to try.
Look, he can try a lot of things, and unfortunately, he's gotten away with a lot of things, but I'm not so sure he can get away with this one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, just from the three of us that are here right now, is anybody else as disappointed as I am with this new Republican-held Congress that's basically done nothing but go along to get along for the last couple of months? They
don't. I talk about this all the time. They've gotten the mandate in two different elections. In 2010, it was, the greatest peacetime, nonviolent power change in the history of mankind, let alone this country. I mean, you're talking over 700 seats changed hand from Democrat to Republican, from local to federal positions. Yep. That's unprecedented. And then again, in the last midterm election, there was another major change, and for Republicans and conservatives, and yet the Republicans, the problem with the Republicans is there's two main problems. One is that the leadership, Bonnier and McConnell, all those kind of, they're good old boy, blue blood, middle of the road, Republicans, rhinos, basically. They're too moderate, but they've got the reins, so they control everything. And two, these guys are just so afraid of the mainstream media. They don't know how to fight fire with fire. So if they feel that, and we can look at this, for instance, with the Indiana and the Arkansas laws. I mean, these guys are basically mirroring a law that Clinton signed into law back in 93, 94.
93,
and all of a sudden,
Ted Kennedy wrote it.
Yeah, Ted Kennedy. And all of a sudden, because Indiana does the same thing and Arkansas pretty much does the same thing, and 28, 30 other states already have a similar law in the books, now all of a sudden it's a bad thing, and these guys are so wimpy that they feel they can't take on the media, that they're bowing to what they call pressure. And then when you actually look at the polls, there is no pressure. The pressure is to keep what they've already signed or what they've already promised to sign, but they're bowing and bending to this very vocal but yet very small minority of people. I mean, look, everybody, when you ask them point blank, even those who say that they're against this so-called bigoted law in Indiana. Okay, if you own a T-shirt shop, would you, let's say, you're gay and you own a T-shirt shop, would you like a Muslim coming into your business and ordering T-shirts that say Allah is great, Sharia law should be the law everywhere, or something like that? You would turn them down. But because you are opposed to this law and they're going to change it, you wouldn't have the right to turn them down. And I always get, well, yeah, I would turn them down. Well, you wouldn't have the right to. Because what you're doing is you're saying, based on somebody out in Colorado not wanting to bake a cake for a lesbian couple because they have Christian beliefs, you think that they should be made to do so. Well, flip it around. If you make this a law where they can't do that, well, you're going to be caught in the middle of it too, and you're not going to like it. You're probably going to like it less than they like it.
Couldn't agree
and
more.
People have this whole thing is because people are not thinking with their brain and thinking logically. They just, somebody says something, a soundbite, and everybody gets all emotional over it.
Well, how about this? Since we're on RFRA anyway. How do you feel about the Jeb Bush back talking on Illinois' governor, praising him back on Monday or Tuesday, and then today saying that he's not criticizing him, but it should have been handled a little differently. I mean,
again, there's that wimpy, flip-floppy Republican, middle-of-the-road kind of stuff.
Yeah, if he can't handle the pressure on this issue at this point where we're not even talking primaries because we don't even have all the candidates declared, what the heck is this guy going to do when the real pressure gets turned on?
Yeah, there was a poll today. I just saw it today, and the poll was only a battle between Hillary and Jeb. Neither one of them have gotten in the race. And it's quite possible that one or both of them won't get in the race. But this is the type of thing that we get all the time. It's the mainstream media pushing a candidate, especially on the Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, those in power in the Republican Party latch on to that candidate, and they think it's Bush right now. But frankly, nobody likes Bush. They don't want a third Bush in the White House. I'm one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right there with you.
Right now, as far as I'm concerned, right now my pick is Walker, but we'll see how the primaries go.
The only thing that concerns me about Walker is I've heard some stories coming out that he's maybe making some quiet grumblings about immigration reform. So and by immigration reform, I mean kind of what Obama just did. So I'm still looking to see if I can find some actual valid sources of that, though, before I completely freak out. But that has me a little worried. Because, yeah, like you, I'm full on Walker, but now I'm starting to wonder.
I'm of the bent that I like what Walker has to say. I like what Cruz has to say. I like what a lot of potential candidates have to say. And I invite as many qualified people as possible to get in. And let's hear from all of them.
Absolutely.
And we can make a decision. I can't back somebody right now. Look. Right now, Cruz is the only one that's actually announced that he's in the race. So everybody's paying attention to Cruz, me included. I like a lot of what he has to say. It doesn't mean that in the end that he's going to be the candidate that I want to support for the nomination.
Right.
But maybe it will be. But I'm trying to keep an open mind and wait until everybody declares and everybody's in and everybody starts spouting their ideas. And what their conservatism is all about, and let's take it from there. I really chastise people who are all gung ho. I mean, I get people that try to press me and push me to support Ben Carson. I'm like, Ben Carson's the only one who can do it. I'm like, he hasn't even entered the race. How can you be so behind Ben Carson? What if he doesn't run? What are you going to do?
Yeah, all those bumper stickers that are printed will be for nothing.
Yeah, so I'm just a wait and see type of guy. I like to get all the information before I make a decision, and I think that's the way everybody should be.
I can certainly see the value in that.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like I said, I haven't really formed a solid opinion yet. It's just so far from the folks that have even mentioned possibly running, so far Walker is one of the only ones holding my attention. Cruz is right there with him too, and he has actually announced right now, so I guess that's his major plus. So I've heard some of the media talking about the fact that they think that Cruz announcing this early might have actually hurt him. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it's hurt him at all. Look, this guy, the media. What I have found out, I think that Rush Limbaugh is right in this. The media will tell you right away who they are afraid of, And if Jeb Bush had already announced, they wouldn't be pounding on him like they are Ted Cruz. They're afraid of Ted Cruz. They're not afraid of Jeb Bush.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. The left does not want Jeb to be president. They want Hillary to be president. But if for whatever reason Jeb is actually elected, they can live with that.
Yeah, he's a nice consolation prize.
But they can live with it. But they can't live with a Ted Cruz. They can't live with another Ronald Reagan in the White House. Oh, they will flip out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Couldn't agree more. The only thing I worry about with Cruz is that some people were saying that he announced early because of some possible fundraising issues. I guess we'll have to just wait and see on that, about how the big donors aren't lining up to support his campaign. But, like I said, we'll see. I'd much rather see a candidate make it supported by John and Jane Q. Citizen than 10 or 12 billionaires.
Yeah, and I think right now, because the potential field is rather fractured, because there's a lot of talk about a lot of different people possibly entering the race. I think even the big donors are kind of waiting to see who's actually going to get in before they start, spending their money.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope so too. I like to think I'm right a lot of times, but you never know when you're dealing with people.
Yeah, that's true. Some of the reports I've seen from different outlets are saying that Jeb is basically telling his fellow Czech Pant Country Club Republicans to just put $1 million in right now and leave it right there, and I'll let you know when I need more.
Backroom deals are how politics are done. So
ain't that the
might
truth?
Be the case too.
And going a few minutes back, if I could, because you keyed on something with Congress that really, you were talking about how the GOP needed to spine up and do their job. One of the comments that I've made frequently on my program is that if I were going to go into a political fight and had to have two people from Congress on my side, I would much rather fight that fight with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid versus McConnell and Boehner, only because Pelosi and Reid will do whatever it takes to win.
The sad part is you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We got Obamacare because they didn't give up. They tried every tactic and trick in the book, and it doesn't seem like Bonnier and McConnell are willing to go the distance to do that. They wimp out too soon.
Exactly.
It's kind of amazing though, because we always, those of us on the right, we always, pretty much say that the left really doesn't have a moral compass. They don't believe in anything. But the real truth is that the things that they do believe in, they do not give up on, ever.
No, and they will find a way to get it through.
Absolutely. And we have to take this, it's unfortunate that we have to commend them on that type of intestinal fortitude, but that's exactly how we have to be on this side. Because we're not going to.
I'm a little tired of hearing, we're GOP, we'll take the higher road. There is no higher road. You win or lose in politics.
Yeah, I don't know what the high road is. I guess the high road is ending up with Obama with a second term and Obamacare that is crushing our country. So I guess that's how's the high road now?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Romney's campaign ended in a shining example of the high road. They had the president dead to rights and alive from that between the second debate and the third debate, and he was advised not to go in for the kill.
Yeah.
That's the high road. And that's why we still have Obama.
Yes, the Republican high road is full of potholes, where the Democratic road is nice and smooth and well paved.
There you go. And that's just because that's how their machine works.
Well, I think that the American people have tried to change that machine in at least two of the past three elections, and they're just not getting it. Even this time around, they're just not getting it. And I understand people's frustration with that. However, I always chastise folks when they say, "Well, I'm just not going to vote this time." Well, you know what? That's exactly why we have Obama in the White House for a second term, because more than 4 million Republicans stayed home that election.
Exactly right.
Instead of going out to vote. So basically, when you don't vote, you are voting for the winner, whoever that happens to be. So in 2012, when you didn't go to the polls to vote for president, you voted for Obama by abstention.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your vote for Obama.
Yes, exactly right. And the same thing with going third party, and splitting that conservative vote, because, they have to vote their conscience. Only 2 candidates had a chance to win. Everybody knows that. And Romney wasn't my first pick. He wasn't my second pick, but he was the candidate, and that's who I voted for because I knew what the alternative was.
Yeah, I had to hold my nose when voting for Romney as well. He wasn't my first pick. He probably wasn't even my 5th pick at the time. But you know what? He was the, as I tell people, you have to vote for the most conservative candidate that is available to you that can win. Yes. It doesn't mean that you throw your vote away for that third party guy who's not even, on a national election, who isn't even going to get 1% of the vote. That's just like voting. Remember Ross Perot, folks?
Oh, I was going to say Gary Johnson, but
I mean, let's face it, the guy got, what was it, 19-20% of the vote way back then?
Yeah.
And that was more than enough to put Bill Clinton in the White House.
Yeah. But you know what happens when you get a candidate like Ross Perot is that you tend to see both the right and the left come together to try to squash that. Yeah,
they do try to get rid of a serious third candidate, but he was, as far as president's concerned, he was the first, serious third contender threat that either party's probably ever faced since, the Whig Party was trying to face down the newly minted Republican Party when they split from the Republican Democratic Party.
Yes.
And look, you can see the Whig Party went away. It dissolved. It went into history because they weren't doing the things that the people thought that they should be doing. Even their own constituents thought, well, geez, you guys are not. We're electing you to do something, and you're not following through with what we want you to follow through on. So the Republican Democratic Party, there was a major rift. Obviously, this is just historical fact. There was a major rift. The party split into the general opposition party, Republicans, and the Democratic Party, Democrats. And the Republicans basically took over because Lincoln decided to run as a Republican, and that was pretty much the death knell for the Whig Party. So I think one of the things that they saw in Perot was that if Perot actually won that election, one of the two main parties, the Republicans or the Democrats, would end up going by the wayside because our system of government really is designed for two major parties.
Right.
We just can't, for whatever reason, we're not like England and other countries that can have 3 or 4 parties and they all coexist together and they have to try to form coalition governments. We're just not set up that way. So we're an all or nothing type of thing.
We're not conducive to that environment.
Yeah. And it's probably, maybe we should try it. I don't know.
I was going to say, it's kind of a shame because we could use a little bit of UKIP flavor over here.
Yeah, well, it might be the kick in the pants that the two established parties need is having a viable third party, but there isn't one on the horizon right now. They're just, I guess the closest thing you can come to it is.
All right, sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off, but we have run a little bit long, folks. We'll be right back here in just a minute. We are joined with special guest today, Mr. Rod Eccles, syndicated talk show host right here on Wake Up America with myself and Grouchy. We've got to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes and continue the conversation.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com. Tornado season has once again arrived in the Southern Plains. Moore, Oklahoma, a suburb of Oklahoma City, has seen its share of Mother Nature's power. Southgate Elementary School in Moore suffered heavy damage after severe weather hit the area.
Debris everywhere, a roof destroyed, and a community left once again picking up the pieces. Southgate Elementary took a direct hit in Wednesday night's tornado.
About 10 classrooms at Southgate Elementary in Moore have either structural or water damage. Citizens can help the rebuilding process by donating to Southgate teachers as they work to request the items they need to rebuild their classrooms. Please help by going to donorschoice.org. This organization helped raise $600,000 for the Moore community after the May 2013 tornado. Also, contact your local Red Cross chapter. This has been a public service announcement from your friends at K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, and on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 Central here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
On this episode of Storage Wars. Another day the rookie don't got no lockers, man. Money owns this town, man. I told you. Man, today I got no lockers. Last 2 trips I lost my ass. I'm just about to say screw it. That or I need a mentor or something. Barack Obama? What are you doing here?
Money owns this town. Money owns this town. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Money owns this town.
Look, as a rookie here, I understand that you're going to have your ups and downs. Recently, I've had a lot more downs. So just imagine my surprise when Barack Obama shows up at the Mini U storage in Santa Ana, California. Mr. President, I can't believe you're here. They call me the rookie around here, but it's a pleasure to meet you. What are you doing here? It's a pleasure to meet you. Let's just say I'm a big fan of the show. And I see you've been struggling. And when it comes to getting a good deal, let's just say I'm uniquely qualified. Figured I'd lend a hand. Lend a hand? What, like me and you buy lockers together today? I mean, what are you thinking? I'm game if you are. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, of course. Let's do it.
Welcome to Santa Ana. Before you go through these gates, you need to know the rules. We're going to go to the unit. We're going to remove the locker. We're going to give you 5 minutes to take a look around. You can't go inside. You can't open any boxes. And whoever's got the most money in their pocket can own it today. Are you ready?
Yeah, all right. Let's do it.
All right. It sounds like you are. Let's go. Come on now. All right, baby.
All right, so check it out. I see like a leather sofa over there, and there's some nice end tables there.
I got to see some golf clubs.
Yeah, I see those back to the Titleist. Yeah, that's a good call, Mr. President. I see those. It's not a bad locker. What do you think? You want to get in on it?
Let's do it.
This locker's a real rookie taker. As in, I'll let a rookie take her. All right, here we go.
$150.
Good job, Mary. California girls, you shut them down.
300. $200,000.
200,000? It was at $350. We just spent $200,000 on a living room set and a set of golf clubs. Are you serious?
Hey, take it from me. You can never spend too much money on golf. Trust me on that one. Hey, where you going? What's the big deal? Just print money like I do.
Storage Wars. We'll be back.
Come with me now. With me now.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is Wake Up America. I am Rick Robinson, joined in the studio today by my good conservative buddy Grouchy, who hangs out with me every Wednesday night now from 6 to 8 right here on K98 Talk. And we do have on the line with us today a conservative talk show host, Mr. Rod Eccles, who, according to his bio, has recently kind of become syndicated all over the place. So sometime after the show, we're going to have to talk. I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, I was looking at your bio before. I mean, you're on WUA, you're on Red Nation Rising. I mean, you're just everywhere. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
You know, it just sort of it happened just out of the blue. It just started to take off. You know, again, as I said earlier, I started back in 2009. So I guess some people would call it an overnight success. It just took a few years for that to happen. And it wasn't something that I was actually striving for. It just sort of happened. And then all of a sudden it's really starting to take off. And it seems like we keep adding more and more networks and stations on a weekly basis. So April is going to be very busy for me as far as bringing on new networks and conversing all over the place. I guess looking. There are people that are looking or asking me to actually come to speak at their events. So we'll see if we can work all that kind of stuff in there as well. So I'm having a lot of fun doing this, but more importantly, I do this because I happen to be a man that has a love affair with his nation. I love the United States of America, and I love our Constitution, and I do not want this country to be fundamentally changed, although I do want to improve it. I want to leave it better than what I had it. And the road we're going now is not that direction. You don't fundamentally change something that you say you love. You want to improve it, but you do not want to fundamentally change it, because why would you want to change something that you love that radically? You must not love it.
Can't argue with that.
Well, no. That's one of the things I talk to people all the time, and it's like they just weren't paying attention to the words Obama was using either the first or the second time that he ran. Because let's face it, the first election, you know, most of what he said was semi-new. But second election, he basically re-said the same things, just in different ways. But he kept using the same phrases over and over again, that he was going, we were 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America. That's not what anybody should have been voting for. I mean, that just reminds me of that car insurance commercial where the little old lady's sitting there going, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this is supposed to work. Because that's not what we do. America is already the best place to be on the planet. The problem is Obama, as far back as I know, his entire family hasn't really felt that way, at least on one side of it. Because one of the first things that he did, which should have been a glaring red flare to everybody, was when he sent the bust of Churchill back across the pond. That was the day I officially knew that we were in all kinds of trouble. It was just, you don't do those kind of things. Okay, so you don't like Churchill. You're not a fan of Britain because of how a relative of yours was treated. So put the damn thing in the basement until it's until somebody else moves in. Don't just completely change everything and say, well, it's mine now, so I'm going to send it back where it belongs because I don't even want to look at it. That was the day I honestly really was one of the first times that I had heard something that he did that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because that's when I knew that that the American people, or the vast majority of them, had been sold a bill of goods.
Yeah, they were, they were definitely sold a bill of goods. And I always, look, I told people right from the beginning, don't fall for this trap that if you don't vote for him, you're a racist. Because what's going to happen is that they're going to guilt the American people into voting for this guy, because if they don't, then they're going to say that, this America is a terribly racist nation and race relations haven't gone anywhere, when that's just a bunch of bunk. And the evidence is the government stats prove that we are no longer that pre-civil civil rights divided nation on racial lines. And what I mean by that is that the last census has shown that there are more interracial couples, both married and non-married, than ever before. There is a growing population that actually, we're not talking 0.5%, we're talking whole percentage points of interracial children and adults now. That was nearly unheard of 50 or 60 years ago. So we indeed have moved way past those dark racial divided days, and we're a lot more homogenous, but we're still a little skittish when somebody says, well, geez, you're bigoted or you're racist, and we want to run and hide and say, no, we're not, let me prove it to you. And then we get Obama as president. And because they're able to do that successfully, we're already seeing, and don't doubt me, folks, look, they're already putting out the signals that if you do not support Hillary Clinton or Elizabeth Warren, you're a sexist.
Yes.
And the reason why they're doing it is because, hey, it worked twice before for Obama.
That's right.
Well, just to play devil's advocate for just a second on the other side of it, now that Cruz is the only one that's announced, when the left starts shrieking about how evil he is, can we call them racist now?
Oh, no, they're not racist at all. And Cruz, hey, they've invented a new classification. So Cruz falls into that classification. He's a white Latino. Remember George Zimmerman?
Yeah, white Latino.
Oh, nice.
Suddenly we have white Latino. Now, Cruz is going to fall into that category, so you cannot be racist against another white guy.
Right. I love how they redefine terms to fit their needs and then push that on America.
Yeah, so they're that gives them the freedom to just go ahead and try to tear Cruz a new one. And the problem that they're going to have is when you have real excitable possible candidates that are not white, and so they're going to like Ben Carson gets in, they're kind of scratching their head on Ben. They're not exactly sure how they're going to handle him.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they've already kind of figured it out, because they'll just start bringing up the fact that he's extremely religious, for one.
And wealthy.
Because, there's already some stuff going around. So, but, you brought up an interesting point a second ago, and sadly I think my train of thought just left me. That's one reason why I was going to try to break in before it was gone. Anyway, maybe it'll come back to me in a second. It's been a long day.
So, Rod, tell us a little bit about Zinc Media Marketing and Agency.
Oh, those were those are companies that I started, and one of the things that I tried to do with the Zinc Agency was to help veterans find jobs. I had worked with a company that was actually owned by a vet. They were an actual vet-owned business, And they did a lot of work within the veteran community, military vet community. And what I saw is that there seemed to be a market that wasn't being fulfilled, and that was with all the vets coming back. They were having a hard time in the economy finding work. So I basically tried to focus strictly on military vets. And there are a lot of them that have, real world experience, especially in the high tech field, which is what we concentrated on. And these guys, they know a lot about high tech security, the high tech industry, and they are looking for work just as anybody else is. And I always thought that, because my father was in the military for some 21 plus years in the Air Force, that I just thought it was a possibly a niche market that I could try to get into, and hopefully it over the coming years will be a huge success, and I'll be able to help thousands and thousands of vets find good high paying jobs.
Well, I hope you're absolutely right. I'm actually holding a resume for a veteran right now that I know is looking for work. So is there a website for Zinc Agency that I can actually get him connected with?
Actually, there's no website, and I chastise myself for not getting on the ball and doing that. But there is a Facebook page.
Okay.
And it's facebook.com Zinc Agency.
Fantastic. I've actually been sending his resume out to all my business contacts, and that's limited, as I've been in the same position now for 15 years, and I don't travel like I used to, so I don't have all those contacts like I used to. But I've been doing what I can and just looking for something like this to get him connected with. So this is great.
Yeah, they just seem to have for whatever reason, have a harder time, and that should, look, they have the skills, and they have real world, actual usable experience skills. So they're not like just a college kid coming out of college. The only other problem is because they do have the skills and they do have experience, and sometimes it's years of experience, they also kind of command a higher salary. So I understand how employers might shy away from having to pay that higher salary.
Right.
But basically, I changed the model a little bit. When you look for a headhunter or something, or an employment agency, they'll tell you up front, they usually work for the employer. I don't. I fully represent the individual, the vet.
That's a great approach. I like that. I like that a lot.
You could call me an employment agent, I guess, is somebody I didn't coin. Somebody else coined that. So you're an employment agent. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that works.
Well, I'm definitely going to be getting this young man in touch because I just want to help him any way I can. He poured his heart and soul out to me, and I asked him for his resume, and I've been doing what I can, and I actually feel like I'm letting him down by not doing enough or not getting enough contacts. So, we're going to make this happen. Yeah,
there was a time at the first couple of weeks in January where I actually put something out on the Facebook page, and I basically offered to give a free review and even possible rewrite to resumes of veterans to help them, even if they didn't utilize me, to help them look for work, especially in their area. And I was in it. I actually had 52 requests, and I couldn't get to them all, but I actually had 52 requests by the time it was over, and I sort of pulled that off the page. But
some more, huh?
Yeah, and I got some. I got to all the ones that I thought that really had, and those that I thought that needed, they just didn't have the experience or the skills, or they weren't in the high tech field. I told them the reason why I couldn't help them with their resume. But those that did, I was able to utilize my experience in seeing the resumes that actually helped land people interviews that then led to job offers. So. Hopefully, if you're out there listening and I help you do that, please let me know if you got the jobs or not.
Fantastic. God bless you for doing that too. That's not easy work.
No, and sometimes it can be time consuming, but it's well worth it.
Couldn't agree more, especially with 22 veterans a day committing suicide. I'm sure that job pressures have something to do with some of those anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a sad statistic with the suicides, and hopefully we can reverse that and eliminate that number. But hey, as long as this guy's in office, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. While we're on the topic of veterans, Rod, let me run an idea past you and see what you think, because I aired this out and had a couple people that actually liked the sound of it. They're talking about the size of our military being reduced, and now we have all these facilities on our military bases that are open. What would be your take on possibly housing homeless veterans, and for room and board, have them do the kind of work that I'm sure your father was at least periodically in charge of overseeing with his subordinates, like what we used to call weeds and seeds around the facility, cleaning up, painting, things of that nature to earn their keep while staying on the base, and possibly even teaching some job skills classes to them while they're there.
That is a fantastic idea. Wish I thought of it.
Well, feel free to run with it. It's just a thought. So I don't have anything cooking with it, but it was just something that came to me when I saw that one base had actually opened up some of their facilities to allow retirees to get on a wait list to move into some of the vacant housing. And I'm thinking, well, why not the homeless? Most retirees already have a home.
Yes, they do, and that's a fantastic idea. And there are a lot of bases around that people could utilize for that too, that have been closed down or are in the process of closing. Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't do something like that. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and along those same lines, I think it's Utah now that basically, they're not anything fancy, but they have like entire areas where they've built small houses for homeless. So they have somewhere to go home, they can get cleaned up, they have somewhere to store their clothes, and it helps them to be able to, one, it gives them something to strive for, and two, it helps them look presentable when they want to try to go find a job, because now they have somewhere where they can keep at least some of their stuff. And I don't understand why we're not doing things like that everywhere. I mean, I know that a lot of cities have weird zoning laws, and that's one of the reasons why things can't happen like that, because I know now that we have this new living small movement that's coming out everywhere, there are a lot of cities that don't even allow you to have houses that are less than a certain square foot. And to me, that doesn't make any sense, because it's not like a homeless person needs a lot of space. I mean, and the fact that you would have them not sleeping in a cardboard box, they would probably sleep in something that would resemble a tool shed if it gave them somewhere to keep their things and somewhere to stay dry and relatively comfortable. So I don't understand why that idea hasn't caught on in more states, because I was thoroughly impressed when I read that article, and I don't remember where I saw it, but that was a few weeks ago.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah, why not? We need to do something. These are the men and women that laid it on the line for this country, whether they actually deployed and saw combat, or whether they deployed and didn't see combat, or whether they never deployed. It was all part of the arrangement that they signed on to. And I just think we're doing, as a country, a fairly poor job of living up to our end of the bargain.
Unfortunately so.
All right, so Rod, we're down to about the last minute or so. Why don't you go ahead and remind folks as to all the different places they can find you for the last minute or so that we have left?
They can go ahead and look at rodeccles.net, RODECCLES.net, and that'll give you all the information that you need on my shows, where they are, my writings, and things like that. So.
All right, sir. Well, then, any other parting thoughts before we start winding things down for the day?
No, it's been a pleasure being here, gentlemen. I look forward to hopefully joining you again soon.
Yeah, your agent and I are already, we had some dates set, but she emailed me about them, so I don't know if maybe something's come up, but let her know I'm not ignoring her. It's just been a hectic few days, so I plan on emailing her back probably later this evening, because she's been in pretty constant communication with me, so I don't want her to think anything's changed on my end. Anyway, it has been a pleasure having you with us this evening, sir. You are welcome on any of the shows that my particular network produces. I am part owner of K98 Talk, but I also am the managing partner of the Spark Radio Network, which is the company that started programming here. We now have Vigilant Liberty Radio, Politainment, and a few other groups that have shows on here as well. But anytime that anything is associated with my particular network, you are welcome to call in or hang out anytime, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night, gentlemen.
I'm not part of any group. I am a nonconformist, but you are welcome on my show anytime. I would love to have another logical mind.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. Again, this has been Rod Eccles. He spent the entire hour with us. If you just happen to tune in, you might want to catch the podcast. It should be up here again in a couple minutes. This has been Wake Up America. I am Rick Robinson, joined tonight by my good friend Grouchy. And not to put you on the spot, sir, but if you've been able to decide whether or not this is going to be something you're going to be able to do at least semi-regularly, or...
Yeah. I don't see a problem doing this. At least on a semi-regular, if not a little even more often than that basis.
All right. Well, the other idea I kind of had, and I hadn't been able to talk to anybody else about this. I'm thinking at some point, Finding Common Ground and this show may become more of like a panel type show, so that folks can kind of rotate in, rotate out, and maybe bring new perspectives to the show all the time. So it's not just the same two schmoes talking back and forth, mainly you and I. If I can get some buy-in from some other folks, but that's just kind of an idea that's been rattling through my head.
Wow, I've graduated to schmo.
Well, mainly I was referring to myself.
Oh. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's cool too. I mean, whatever. I'm flexible. I'm not quite Gumby, but I'm flexible.
Yeah, I've never been called Gumby, but never mind. All right, folks, we are out. Next up here in just a minute, we're going to switch over to the Voices of Global Freedom radio crew. Then after that, we have Liz Harrison from Vigilant Liberty Radio. Then, of course, we will finish out the night with the Late Night in the Midlands crew. This has been Wake Up America. I'm Rick Robinson. I'll be back with you not tomorrow because I have a family engagement, I do believe. But I'll find out for sure. But I'll be back live with you Saturday. I think for tomorrow, since Politainment is new here and we have all four of their shows now sitting in a can, I think we may do a back-to-back-to-back-to-back replay night. That's kind of something else I've been toying with. So, but anyway, we are going to call it for the night, folks. You guys take care. Grouchy, it's been a pleasure. And again, I actually would like us to do this more often if you're game.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're out for the night, folks. You take care.